Okay, I think we are live. Please, you people in the chat room, tell me whether the audio and video is good. I had hoped to have Rob from the 741 channel help me out and monitor my output, but he had another commitment. So we're just going to wing it with myself. And so anyway, if anybody in the chat can tell me how the video and audio is, I'd appreciate. Oh, I can see one problem. I haven't hooked up my mic. Gee whiz, I knew I'd forget something. It didn't take long to mess up. Okay, now we got the mic on. Maybe you can hear me. And audio is fine. Okay, good. That's surprising because I didn't have my microphone clipped to my shirt. And I want to tell you a little bit about the environment I got here. It's not the best. When streaming, I have to use an older webcam. So the video is not as precise as it is when I use my cell phone to do my offline recordings. Also, I'm using a $7 lapel microphone. So the audio may not be that great either. So those are two things. The lighting is not the best either. It may appear like it's a little washed out, and I actually have most of the lights off, and I'm kind of reading my notes in the dark, so bear with me there. The last thing, and probably one of the most important things as far as reception, I'm in my office, and my office has 5 or 6 computers running all the time, a router, a switch, a couple of Echo devices, a couple of tablets. So it's got a lot of RF flowing around in here. But this is the easiest setup, which is not that easy, to do a live stream. So if we get some noise on the radio, that could be it. What you were listening to is 9.980, which is Nashville, Tennessee. I did a scan of the HF band just before I started the show. So we got quite a few stations that it picked up, and they will come and go. Now, because I'm in this RF environment, noise environment, I'm having to use an external antenna. And this is my G5RV antenna, which is quite old. It's 40 years old. It's been out there in the weather for 40 years. So I don't know the condition of that antenna. I would have preferred to have done the show down in my workshop where I have my newer antennas, my Mega Loop and my 31-foot vertical. But I don't have the setup to do a live stream down there. So let's get this out of the way. And here we have it. The Tecsun H-501X, my brand new radio that was sent to me by Anna at Anon-co. I've gotten several radios from them. I bought a lot of radios from them. They've been very good to me as far as service and getting things. I got this in a week. Now, it was sent FedEx. So there was an extra expense to have it sent FedEx, which they paid for. So keep that in mind when you order it from them. Okay, I'm going to have to jump back and forth between talking to you and looking at the chat because Rob, who was going to be here to help me and monitor the chat, can't make it. So bear with me. I'm looking at the chat right now. We got, and the thing is, because if there's a number of entries in the chat, some of the entries could be scrolling off and I miss them. So I apologize for that. But we got Keith Logan. We got Canadian Radio TV Guide, TV Radio 1972. And yes, you are correct, Canadian Radio Guide. That is WWCR. You got Greg C. Got Thomas Bewick, 40 years old. Yeah, that antenna's been up there a long time. Been through a couple of close hurricanes, a couple of close tornadoes, and it's still working, but I don't know how well. And we got Mag 315. All righty. So I'm going to kind of do this ad hoc in that I had planned originally to use my checklist and go through all these options that radios could have and check to see whether this radio has this. Well, there was a high demand from my first 3 videos on this radio to do some reception. So we're going to do reception. Now, we're not going to do a thorough reception on any band, but we're going to try to cover each of the bands except long wave. I cannot receive long wave. I'm not in a good location. I don't have a proper antenna. I can't receive long wave. Over the 50, 60 years that I've been listening, I've only heard a couple of beacons, and they were down in South Florida. So I'm not even going to try long wave. Now, I am going to try AM, FM, shortwave, and see what we get. And I'm going to start with shortwave because I just did the scan using the ATS function. Now, I don't have zoom capability with this camera, so I can move it a little closer, but you've seen it in my previous show, so you kind of know where things are. If I do anything wrong, please put a comment in there, and hopefully I'll catch that comment and correct myself. I'm no expert, and I'm just learning this radio. It has so many features, and I've got all kinds of notes here, and we're going to just try it and see what we can do here. So let me turn the audio back up. The audio is excellent. Of course, shortwave right now and for the past year has been pretty poor. But I did pick up a lot of channels a half hour ago when I scanned. Now, shortwave conditions change, so they could be gone. So let's see what we got. That one's gone. Okay, that's 9640. Did I look that one up? I looked up some of these. No, I didn't look up that one. I don't know if you noticed it, but I'm in memory mode because it did the ATS and stored what it found into the memory. One thing, and I don't know if there's a way around it, when you're scanning through the memory channels using the main tuning knob, it takes quite a bit of rotation to get it to go to the next memory location. In the manual, it says something, and let me see if I got the manual and I can read that to you. It says something about when you're going through the memory banks, it uses, okay, here it is. Rotate the tuning knob with some vigor. And I'll show you that right now. So I'm watch my finger, turn the volume back up. Nothing. Didn't change. Finally, it changed. So that's what they mean. So you got to do it real quick or it won't change. I don't know why that is. The other thing is, you will probably notice that as you change memory locations, there's a delay there. And then you hear, ka-chik, ka-chik. Again, not a big deal. It's just something I noticed. There we go. A lot of Spanish stations coming in, probably because they're close by. So just in that half hour from the previous where I did a scan, I've lost a lot of the stations. The band conditions are changing.
And male gender at the level of 46%.
5,
the average age of women
8,
is
50.
And that of
I didn't write that one down because it wasn't coming in too good. Now it's coming in strong.
41 years old.
I mean, it's got a signal strength of 79, 76. That's a strong signal.
Central government institutions, the commissioner's report has made. But they've heard about Jesus.
Here we go.
You know what Philip could have done at that point in time? He could have said, well,
That might be out of Tennessee. I'll let you listen.
In meeting Jesus. Exactly what is your interest in meeting Jesus? Why do you have this interest in him? Philip didn't do that, but Philip comes and tells Andrew. Now, Philip and Andrew.
Okay, once you get a strong signal and it locks in, the audio is really good. Let me check the chat room. Meg 315 says that's a good looking radio. Yes, as far as the looks and the display, they're awesome. I mean, some radios, especially inexpensive radios, the plastic really looks chintzy. Well, this really, it almost looks metallic. I'm sure it's not, but it almost looks like it's metal. I think this is metal here, these two speaker grills. So we got Jeff King. Now, Mag 315 says that's the way the PL990X operates. Now, I'm kind of late reading that comment. That's why I needed Rob. I think he's referring to this going through the memory. You have to vigorously turn this knob. Is that correct? Let me know, Mag 350. Okay, we also got here. Canadian radio TV guy says WRMI on 9355 is plus 10 dB. Yes, Mag 315 says, yes, the tuning on the 990 of the memory locations is the same. You have to vigorously turn that knob. I don't yet know if there's another method of going through the memory channels. There probably is. I just haven't gotten to that. And like I say, I'm just kind of randomly trying to show you how this radio works. Okay, let's move on. Now we can change, let me turn the volume up. Let's get back to a station. There we go. Yeah, it's not very good.
You will need to buy a highly concentrated.
Okay, we can change the bandwidth with this button here. That's the max on this band.
After duration in space, it's a good choice.
5, 3.5, 2.3, back up.
Empty foaming hand soap dispenser and add in a tablespoon.
Okay, I'll change it one more time without yakking.
After closing the top, give the bottle a little shake. That's it. Love you so much for being best and going green to save the planet. Best save the world. And thank you for your attention. Here's the weather around our beautiful globe.
Okay, now in my notes I have that the bandwidths that are available is variable depending on what mode you're in. So for instance, medium wave and long wave, you've got 9 kilohertz, 5 kilohertz, 3.5 kilohertz, 2.3 kilohertz. In shortwave, you don't have the 9 kilohertz. It starts at 6 kilohertz, as you saw, 5, 3.5, 2.3. On single sideband mode, it drops to the 6, and you got 4, 3, 2.3, 1.2, and 0.5. I guess that's for like CW. Okay. So it's done. Again, I'm having to use an external antenna, a pretty good job of finding stations on shortwave. Let me see if I can find the highest memory number. I think you can also punch in a memory number. Let's try 08. Yes. 09. Yeah, that's another way you can go through the memory, is actually using the keypad. So we could go to 01, 02, 03, 04. So that's another way. The keys take some pushing. They're very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very substantial. They're not wobbly or anything like that. So you can't accidentally push a key, but you do have to push fairly hard. Alrighty, what else we got? So that's shortwave. As I mentioned in a previous show, there's 2 ways you can scan the shortwave bands. And what it does, it scans the international broadcast bands. So like 49 meters, 31 meters. It doesn't scan, let me turn this back down. It doesn't scan the whole shortwave band. It only scans those pieces. So if you use the shortwave down button, it will scan all of those bands and store strong signals in memory. And and when you use that function, it zeroes out whatever's in there. The other thing you have to remember is it stores the information in banks. So you got like bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, so on up. I think there's like 10 banks. And each bank has 100 locations, 0 to 99. So what you need to do, because it will, when you do an ATS, especially if you do the one where it goes through the whole band, it zeroes out everything that was there. So it's gone. And so what you need to do, and what I've done, is I've designated page 1, for instance, and I got it written down in another notebook. Hold on. Page 1 is for shortwave. Page 2 is for FM, and page 3 is for AM. Now you have a whole bunch more pages. There's like over 3,000 memory locations. And I don't know, because I have never been able to do an ATS and get even close to 100 signals. on a radio that only scans the meter bands. Now, like my Grundig 750, it scans the entire HF band, and of course, strong noise signals are considered a strong signal, so it saves them. So quite often on the HF band, it will use up its 100 locations before it gets halfway through the band. So that's the disadvantage of having the capability of scanning the entire band. So that's kind of a trade-off. I wish they had a way you could choose which method you wanted to use. Anyway, so that's it. Let's go to FM. And I've already scanned into FM. And we can, right now, because I just switched to FM, we should be in manual tuning, which we are. And I should be able to go to VM for memory. And now it should be showing me, let's go to page. Oops, went the wrong way. Okay, it looks like I did just what I told you to be concerned about. I was in page, oh, there it is. There's page 2. Page 2 I've designated for FM, I think. What did my notebook say? See if I'm even following my notes. Did I say yes? Page 2 is for FM frequencies. So I'm on page 2, and now I can use the dial. Let me turn the volume up.
My Cadillac and crawling on the door. Now the verse begins.
Whoa. So it captured, again in my notes, I'm going to have to look at the chat. I haven't looked at the chat in 15 minutes. Let's see. Same as on the PL330 about the tuning knob going through memory. To me, that's kind of a quirk. Gear wants to know, is it worth the money? That depends on what you want. I mean, if you're just a casual listener, you can buy the PL330 and it will give you good service. If you want stereo and some of the other features this has, such as the MP3 player, it's going to cost you more dollars. So I can't answer that question for you. I can only show you how it works, and you have to decide. Keith Logan, he's back. Canadian guy. Says that he got the PL330 for $88, definitely worth it. And I think I've seen it, the PL330, now for like $60. It was more when it first came out. Okay. What was I looking up? I don't remember. Anyway, it does, of course, it does work on FM. It works in mono or stereo, and you can select which mode. I don't remember how. It's too long ago. I tried it 3 days ago, and I've forgotten already. And the one thing I will be showing you after I do the band scans on the other band, the MP3 player. Now, again, my setup, I'm using a $7 lapel microphone. So you're probably not going to be able to tell the quality of the audio because of that. It's just my cheap microphone. But we're going to show it to you anyway. All right, so that's FM. Picked up, oh, that's what I was looking for. In my notes, I looked it up. There's a website you can find all the FM and AM stations in your area by a certain radius. So I did a radius of 25 miles and I found 50 possible stations. Now, some of those stations are what they call low power stations. They're used for giving traffic information and stuff like that. So you might not get those, just depending on where you live. So how many did I get? Let me look and see what we got stored here. 13, 14, 15, 16. We're up to 32, 40, 46, 48, 50, 55, 58, 60, 60. I got 60. Now, keep in mind, some of those, as you heard at the beginning, first when I started first tuning these FM memory stations, some of them were just noise caused by my electronics. So I'm pretty sure I got all 50 that's within 25 miles of me. The AM, and we'll try AM here. AM, I'm in tuning mode, so we have to go to variable memory. And we'll go to page, what page did I say? Page 3. Okay, there's 3. Now see how many we got. Again, some of them could be noise. We're up to 16. And this was this afternoon I did this. 31 out of a possible 18. So probably a lot of them are noise, or there could be on AM, there's a lot of Spanish stations, Spanish language stations, which are not registered in a lot of the databases, so they don't show up. Now we're here, let's see what we got on those stations.
Through your support of folks.
Okay, there's a good strong one.
All we do here with the broadcast, counseling, resources, articles, and so much more, all in the name of Christ. So be a part of the ministry.
Top in the mid, 97, 98. But with the
Loud and clear.
he doesn't get Jansen.
Little noise there. Some noise there. That's loud and clear. Noise. Noise. So you can see, even though it found whatever I said, 30 some signals, strong signals, some of them were just noise caused by all the RF in my office. But it found, I'm pretty sure it found the 18. So it did a great job of picking up medium wave stations. So far, as far as reception, all the bands are doing great. Now, couple other options. You can select various antennas to use. And this will blow your mind. You can select on the medium wave band, which normally uses that big ferrite rod built-in antenna that I showed you in the previous show with the innards of this radio. That's normally it, and that's what you get. That's all you get. With this one, you can use the external jack, and when you plug in an external antenna, it disconnects the internal antenna. And that's what I'm on right now. If I disconnect this on medium wave, it will switch back to that built-in antenna. Or there's another function where you can have it use the telescopic antenna on medium wave. And wow, that blows my mind. So that's the other options. It uses, a lot of people ask me what kind of plug, because you can see I'm using an adapter here. It uses 1/8 inch mini jacks. So that's what you need. You need the plug, 1/8 inch mini plug. As I said, these are stereo speakers, so if you're listening to a stereo broadcast in FM, you will hear stereo. Or if you're listening to the MP3 player and you have recorded a stereo song, for instance, it'll play stereo. Also, the output jacks for the earbud can be stereo. And the output, the line output can be stereo, and the line input can be stereo for listening to like a cell phone using the speaker system here. Now, one thing I forgot to show you is, and I've got to be careful here, I've got everything plugged in, is right there, and I'm not going to move the radio too much, is the micro USB port for charging the batteries inside the radio. I usually charge my batteries, if possible, outside the radio so I don't induce a lot of heat into the radio in case the batteries are defective. Has two batteries, as I showed you the other day, 18650 batteries. It only uses one at a time. So if you're low on battery, like I was just before I started the show, luckily I looked up here at the battery indicator and it was down. And I go, oh, I don't want the thing to die in the middle of my show. I just reached back in the back and switched to the other battery while it was on, and there was no interruption at all. None, not at all. So that is pretty cool. I've never seen that in a radio like this. Okay, I'm really behind on the chat. Let me get to the chat. Okay, let me back up here. Oh my gosh, am I behind? Okay. Okay, Mag 315 replied to Canadian guy that the PL 330 is a great buy. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and order one of those myself so that I can do a comparison. Canadian radio guy says on the PL 330, all you have to do is hold down on the memory button and roll through the 150 presets with the tuning dial. Oh, well, let me try that. Memory button. See, are we in that mode? Yes. Okay, so I'll hold down the memory button. Yes, that's a lot smoother. Thank you for that. Yep, that's nice and smooth. You don't have to vigorously tune it. I'm going to write that in my notes so that I have that for my own information. That's what this show's about, sharing information. So hold mem button and then use main tuning. Okay, that's much better. All righty, let's see what else is good news I got here. Good information. Okay, we got Power Book 17. Looks like a nice radio. Yeah, it is a nice radio. Canadian guy, it does have a few flaws. I don't think I've hit on too many of them. That one flaw about the tuning, okay, you solved that for me, or someone solved that for me. So that flaw is gone. But there are a couple flaws. All right, let's see. Come on, I can't get this thing to scroll. No, I think I just answered that question a few seconds ago. This uses 18650 batteries. It has two installed. It only uses one at a time, and you can switch between the two. Okay, there was a mention of the slow AGC on a single sideband. We will be testing it. I have not tested it yet. We may not test it in this show, but we will be testing it. Let's go on. That's what I want. I want inputs. Matter of fact, I'm going to write that down. I want inputs of questions you have that I'll get to in a following show. So test AGC in single sideband mode. Okay. Yes, MAG 315, it does use 18650s. Boy, am I falling behind on the chat. Yes, Dakota, it does use 2. And they are switchable. So it only uses 1 at a time. So just like I mentioned before, when I was going to go on the air and one battery was low, I just flipped the switch, radio was on, it just kept right on playing. So now I have a fully charged battery. Yeah, the 18650s are being used a lot nowadays. So they're easy to find. Now, Canadian guy, you have a good question there. I do not know. I will test it. And that does, it have the reverse tuning bug on the single sideband like the PL330 does. I did read that the production version, which is the X version, that was corrected. I have not verified it. Let me write that down, something to do. Reverse tuning. Okay, got that written down. Thanks. I really appreciate these inputs. Yes, Dakota, that's exactly how it works. It uses 1 cell at a time. There's a switch on the back, which I tested, that you can flip that switch while the radio is on and you don't even get a glitch. Okay, I think we're almost caught up here. Yeah, Dakota, I had read that they had fixed that reverse tuning flaw, and he says it has been refixed on the 330. Now, the firmware for this radio is updated firmware from both the 330 and the 990. Yeah, a Canadian guy says that problem is fixed on the export version, which is what the X is for, the export version, which this is. I'm still catching up on the chat. Okay, Scrunch Gumpkins, I hope I pronounced that right. It is on, and I did put a link in my previous show. It is listed on the ANON-CO website, which is where this one came from. They sent me this one for review. It's listed, but they won't have any bulk stock until like mid-May. But it is listed, and I did have a link to that listing. Yes, I agree, Jose, that I've never heard of that battery configuration. That is something cool. Okay. Oh, I pronounced your name right. Surprise, surprise. Okay, let's get back to the radio. We're caught up in the chat. I'm going to look at my notes here and see what other things that I wanted to mention. The charging point on the right side, the speaker input, USB input from a computer, USB from a computer. I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't tried it. No soft muting. Oh, I am so thankful that it doesn't have soft muting. Now, this is a PLL and DSP design, I'm told. So it could have had that soft muting problem. It doesn't. It doesn't appear to have it. Now, the FM band does not have RDS capability. That's surprising. Not a biggie, but it's just surprising it doesn't have that. I don't ever look at that stuff on my other radios anyway. Now, let's talk about the MP3 player, which is down here. So you go to the mode button, you push the mode button. I guess you have to push and hold. Am I not pushing and hold? Oh, I'm in the wrong button. Gee whiz. Okay, there's line in mode. Okay, I don't want line in mode. Why am I only getting that mode? Okay, you want to be that way? I'll just push and hold. There we go. You don't push and hold, you just push. So now I inserted my YouTube free music files, little TF card in here. So it's playing now, and I'll turn this up. Now, if I had a decent microphone, you could get some idea how good the audio is, but I'm using this cheap lapel microphone. You probably can't tell. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these tracks, this the free music you get off of YouTube, is this modern music where they distort things on purpose. So that's the distortion you're hearing. I wrote down some better tracks. Where did I write it down? Oh my gosh. It's on the back of another piece of paper. Ah, here it is. Track 12. So you can put in the number, track number. So if I put in 15, that didn't help. Okay, I'm going to go to track 12. I think I've got 60 tracks on this card. I mean, that has a lot of punch. And we try track 22. Track numbers up here, of course. That is about 1/4 volume. I don't know how well it sounds on my lapel microphone. Now you can change tracks using this button here. You could go forward one track, back one track, or you can fast forward within a track. Watch this. You push and hold. Watch the count, the timer count. Doesn't move very fast though. So if you had a long recording, that's not going to get through it very fast. Okay, I've got that's 36. Let's do 56 and then we'll quit. Oop, that's 53. It would help if I punched the right keys. Lots of bass. And then it has treble and bass control. Lots of bass. Okay, one last thing for this show, unless we have some questions. This is the errata sheet of the hidden features that Anna sent me, and she says this is going to be included with all the radios in the future. And there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hidden features. And I'm not going to go over those right now. The one was being able to switch in the AM mode the antenna from the built-in antenna to the telescopic antenna. That's one of the hidden features, using one of the keypad buttons and holding it down. And then there's a DNR function, dynamic noise reduction function you can turn on. You can change the muting thresholds as far as when you're using the squelch. And of course, the one that wasn't in the manual is hitting this button, this mode button, and getting into Bluetooth mode. And so this is a Bluetooth receiver so that you can play files from, say, your cell phone to this radio in stereo. I think that's about it. I'm going to look over the chat, see everything we didn't cover. Yeah, Anaco is mid-May for their deliveries. They sent me this as an early delivery. Yes, the audio is excellent. I'm sorry my microphone doesn't pick it up that well. Yeah, as Dennis pointed out, there's an option for either the soft case, which, what did I do my soft case? Oh, it's down in the box. A soft case or a hard case. I prefer the soft case. Really nice. Yeah, I didn't realize there were 4 speakers in here either until I found that picture with the back cover off, which I showed in a previous video, I think today. And it shows that it's got lots of circuit boards and components in this beast. Yeah, I agree, Jose. I don't understand why you would use the telescopic antenna on medium wave, except for one thing. The one thing that I did notice about medium wave using the internal antenna, that it's very directional. So I had the radio sitting here, kind of like this, and I scanned the medium wave band, and I didn't pick up hardly anything. I picked up like 2 or 3 stations. I'm like, oh, this is not good. So I thought, well, medium wave is directional as far as the antenna. So I took the radio and I turned it 90 degrees, and then I got all the stations. So possibly using the telescopic antenna, you get away from that directivity. Possibly. I'm not sure. That's the only thing I could think of why you would use it. Yeah, Canadian radio guy says the PL330 is pretty directional on medium wave also. Yeah, it amazed me how directional it was. Like I said, I got 3 stations when I did a scan, and I thought the radio was broken. And so I started pushing buttons to see if, I had turned off an antenna or something. And then I just turned the radio and boom, they all came in. So that's it. I think I'm about done. I will be getting back to my checkoff list here. I think this radio is going to have at least 90 to 95% of these features. Right now, I think this is a definitely buy. If you want a high quality radio with lots of function, this is a buy. If you just want a casual radio, maybe get the 330. I wouldn't settle for the 990, which is kind of in between. I'd either get the 330 or this 501. That's my bias, maybe. But wouldn't you know, the phone would ring? Opinion. And everybody, okay, go away. Stand by a minute. There, my wife picked it up. Okay. So you have to make your own decision. Are you willing to pay the extra money for super quality? Or do you, like I say, I don't think the 330 is a bad radio. I'm going to get a 330 and compare it. Because for the price, it might be a fantastic deal. We shall see. That's it. Jose say larger ferrites are more directional. Okay, and it's got that huge ferrite antenna inside. And Dakota says, I can see where the extreme direction of this series of sets would be very useful for medium wave DXing. Oh, okay, I got you. Yep, you're right. I'm not into medium wave DXing, so I don't know what's good or bad. I'm going to check my last of my notes and see if I've got everything. Yep, I did all that. I did that. I will be going over later. I've got to find some way to enlarge this so I could read it. It's such a small print. I asked Anna if she could send it to me in a file so I could put it on my computer and blow it up, but she says she does not have a file. I also asked Anna if she could send me the manual in a file, a PDF or a doc file, because I like to highlight things and note things and make things larger, like the diagram of the display and stuff like that, make that larger. So she said they will be coming, but they don't have them right now. Okay, one last look at the chat. Dakota says the D808 has a larger medium wave antenna. Yes, this has a very large, if you go back to my video of the innards of this thing, it's got a huge antenna. And the telescopic antenna, I finally got around to measuring it. I think I mistakenly said it was 4 feet, almost 4 feet. It's 40 inches. That's got to be the longest telescopic antenna, with the exception maybe of my Grundig 750, which has a very long telescopic antenna. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. And I I want you to have a great day. And if you have other comments, other questions, if I can't answer them, I can send the questions to Anna and try to get the answers from her. Have a great day. Bye-bye.